Okay, hello again, everyone. So Lar here again, another live stream. This live stream, we're focusing on IELTS speaking part 2. So I'm going to show you a question. I'm going to get you to tell me what you would do, and I'm going to give you feedback based on what you tell me. So the idea here, it's all about me giving you feedback. So that's the purpose. IELTS writing task 2 and feedback for you. If you're not already aware of how to write a task to answer, I have a complete task 2 guide for you here. So it depends on the question type. There are different, you need to respond to each question type differently. There are a number of different question types. You need to follow specific structures. You need to include the information in the way that IELTS wants you to include it to get a high score. So unlike speaking, which is much more about your actual ability just shining through, with IELTS writing, it's not just about having your ability in English, but having your ability to deliver it in the way that IELTS want. So yeah, if you're not already familiar with how to write an essay, check out that guide. You can just click on the links there. One link for YouTube and one for Facebook. Hey Jashan, good to see you here. Hi Maha, hope you're feeling better again. I know you were a bit under the weather during the week. Okay, so that's basically it. So let's have a look at this question. Here's the question we're looking at for this lesson. There are many who feel that public transportation is the best way to commute. Others, however, believe that private transportation, such as cars, is better. Okay, so what I want you to do is, of course, write the paraphrase for me, first of all. So write the paraphrase, put that into the comments, and I will give you feedback. Now, remember, the most important thing about the paraphrase is that it has the exact same meaning as the sentence, as the question statement. So first and foremost, it should have the same meaning, and then change as many words as possible after that. So don't take risks, don't change any words that could result in changing the meaning or making your paraphrase unclear. It should be clear, it should have the same meaning, and after that comes your attempts to use different language. Hi Ranjana, good to see you here. Good to see you. Haven't seen you in my live feedback lessons in a while, in a long time actually. And Cameron Beck, when I see, it confuses me when I see Chris's face and your profile picture. You're obviously a big fan of Chris. He's a good teacher for sure. Welcome to the lesson anyway. And hi Maravik, good to see you here. Always welcome. Hi Karan, welcome to the lesson. Hey Sharon, good to see you here too. And Gerline is here. Hey Gerline. How did the test go? Vicious. Okay. Many people believe that public transportation is the optimal method for traveling. Whereas some will go with others. We normally will talk about the second group with the word others. Whereas others, or you could say other people if you wanted, deem that private vehicles are not good, but better, because that's not the same meaning. Okay, so I'm going to take that and I'm just going to add it to the document and tidy it up a little bit. Okay. So many people believe that public transportation is the optimal method for traveling, no space, whereas other people deem that private vehicles are better. Okay. Maha, sir, I came to know your YouTube channel by Chris Community. That's right. Yeah, that's right, Chris. I used to be the academic manager for Chris. I used to run the academic department. So yeah, and I knew him before that as well. So me and Chris go back a long way. Saru, many people believe that public transportation is, you need the definite article, is the best means to travel, while others think, okay, so grammatically, it should be while others think cars are better. However, it's not specifically cars, it's private transportation. So such as cars is an example, but it could include like vans, pickup trucks, motorbikes, other types of private transportation. So it's not specifically cars. Cars is just an example of private transportation in the question. Hi, Neil. Good to see you too. And Ranjana, a large number of people think that public transportation is the most suitable means, you need an S, means of commuting, whereas others claim private transportation is more suitable. Yes, that's a very good paraphrase. Well done. Good job, Ranjana. Okay, Maravik, so you need a capital S at the beginning of the sentence and a full stop at the end. Okay, some people believe they want to go on public transportation because this is the easy way for them to reach the destination. No. So you don't want to say why they want to do it yet or why they believe that yet. You just want to paraphrase the question statement. So it should have the same meaning as this. So just say what they believe and say what the other group believe. Don't put in any extra meanings or change anything. Just put in exactly that. Okay, so after the paraphrase, we need to write the outline statement. So let's get started on that. And I'm not going to tell you what to include in the outline statement. I'm not going to tell you how many ideas to include. I'm going to let you make your own mistakes and then I'll correct you based on that. So, I mean, maybe you'll make no mistakes, but either way, I'm going to let you write your own outline statement and we'll see what you come up with. Hey, Sarwa, I'm doing very well. Thank you. Good to see you here. Jason, numerous, first of all, welcome to the lesson, of course, but numerous means several, which is more like a few or a handful, like when I think numerous be not the same as many. Okay, so let's just say, we'll just say many. We'll take the word from the question statement because that's what to do. Rather than taking a risk, it's best to copy the question statement. Okay, so many people think that public transportation is more convenient for everyday life activities. No, don't put the reason in yet. It didn't say for what, it just said it's the best way to commute. So just say that again. So public transportation is better. And then for everyday life activities, that's too vague as well. That wouldn't really be commute. So, and I see this a lot, Jason, where students will desperately try to avoid using the words in the question statement. And the result is they say something that doesn't make sense. That doesn't have the same meaning. So be careful with that. And then to continue, you said, while others are of the belief that private transportation is more suitable. Yeah, much stronger finish to your sentence. So that just shows that you do have the language ability, but you're making that mistake that so many candidates and students make where they don't want to use any of the words from the question statement, which isn't the purpose. You're meant to paraphrase it, so use as few as possible, but not use none. and don't sacrifice communication and don't sacrifice meaning for that purpose. So while you're writing the outline statement, let me just share my other resources with you. I have other free lessons. So as well as the live streams, I have my live feedback lessons on Zoom. You need to subscribe for those. So for example, I have speaking on a Tuesday, task 1 on a Wednesday, and task 2 on a Friday. So tomorrow there's a free live feedback lesson on Zoom. So subscribe for that. I also have one-on-one support. So it's essay corrections and mock speaking tests. And I also have places on my IELTS writing course at the moment, Complete IELTS Writing Success. So if you're interested in joining the course, let me know. I do have a small number of places available. And that comes with lifetime support. So you join my IELTS writing course, you start today, and I'm with you until the day you get your IELTS results. So that is something that I really wanted to add to my courses, so that I do have the ability to support students right up to the very end. I've worked in schools in the past where you got a 32-hour course with a student. They come in, you go through, do as much as you can with them, but they're gone before it's over. And I've been in the situation many times where, like, you see students walking out of the classroom, they're not ready, but there's nothing you can do about it because, they paid for 32 hours and they're gone. So I've been in that situation a lot in schools I worked in. So that's why a lifetime membership is important for me. Okay. So Ranjana, supporter of public transportation do so because it is cheap, while others claim private transportation is better because it is convenient. I don't like the word convenient as a main idea. It's too vague. So why is it more convenient? You'll probably think of 2 or 3 reasons why it's more convenient, and you should choose one of those. But to say convenient, that's not suitable. You're also missing a key component from your outline. Oh, wait. No, there's another bit. I believe public transportation is better because it's eco-friendly. Okay, good. So you have your 3 main ideas: a main idea to support the first view, main idea to support the second view, and main idea to support your opinion. So you've done a good job in that regard. Your first and last main ideas are suitable, but this second one, convenient, that's too vague. Okay, Zelathina, haven't seen you in a while. Welcome back. Many people think that public transportation is a more convenient way to commute. And then while should be the same sentence. So while some people find that it is much more convenient to commute by means of private vehicles. Okay, good, but you need to be more careful with your grammar. Grammar is an area you need to work on. Hey, Pawan. Many individuals, so that should be plural, believe that public transportation is good and the best. So you need the superlative. It's the best way. So good way and the best way. Like if you say something is good, you're not saying that it's better than another way. So that part of the paraphrase isn't clear. Whereas others think that private transportation like cars is better. Good. Yeah. So the second half is suitable. Vicious. The people supporting public transport believe that this specific mode of transport. So this is a very indirect way of saying it. So this believe that this specific mode of transport, you could remove that. So just the people supporting public transport believe it is quite affordable. However, proponents of using private vehicles, so another plural, private vehicles, think that they can be used anytime. Yes. So you're repetition of this mode of transport and repetition of personal vehicles. So don't repeat the noun. And especially we would, when it's already clear what the subject is, we'll use a pronoun rather than repeating the full noun. But your main ideas are suitable. However, you are missing a third. Oh, wait, I see another comment from you down here. In my opinion, public transport is better because not everyone can afford private vehicles. So your first idea is that it's cheap, that it's affordable, and then you're saying that more people can afford it. So that's the same idea. You've phrased it differently, but it is the same idea. So that doesn't work, I'm afraid. So you'll need another idea for your own opinion. You can't use the same idea you used to support the view. Hello, Aaron. Hello to you. Welcome to the lesson. Cameron Beck. Many people consider that public transportation is second to none for travelling, but other people think that private transportation is more suitable. Yeah, good. Hey, Lam. Many people believe that it is best to commute using public transportation, while some others prefer private vehicles like cars. Private ones. The word ones isn't clear here. The rest is good. Hey, Jewel. Good to see you. Okay. Although each way has its own perks in terms of daily commute, no. You say what main ideas you're going to use to support the views in your outline statement. I would propose the former, as public transportation is uncountable, so public transportation is more eco-friendly. Okay, so you have one main idea and it is suitable, but you needed to include all three main ideas in your outline statement. Okay, so we saw that already. Jason, those who think that public transportation is more convenient so from those until convenient, that's just the subject of your sentence. Those who think that public transportation is more convenient, so those people, and then you've continued that with the word is, but it has to be think. So those who think that public transportation is more convenient think this or believe this because it is more affordable than private transportation. Okay, so more affordable is a suitable idea, but you need to have more ideas in your outline statement. Sahiba, a group of people, no. So just say some people. Some people believe that public transportation is a better way to commute for professional and personal work. No, it doesn't say that. So don't include extra information in your paraphrase. Just say what the question says. Whereas other opinion that private transportation is a better way to travel as it gives you personal space. Okay, so personal space is suitable, but again, it's not clear if this is a paraphrase or an outline statement, so I think you're mixing up the two. Hey, Rupinder. Nice to see you here again. Saru. This is because public transportation is cheap to travel, while private transportation is easy. That's too vague. What's easy about? Why is it easy? What makes it easy? In my opinion, public transport is better because it is better for the environment. Good. So just that one, easy, is too vague. So it seems, do we have any ideas for private transportation that were suitable? Okay, here we had fishes. They can be used anytime. Okay. So let me just grab Saru's here. And I'll add that to our document. So this is because public transportation is cheaper, while private transportation is, I had like a sieve. What? Go back now and remind myself, what did we just say? Can be used anytime. Okay. Well, private transportation can be used anytime. In my opinion, public transport is better because it is better for the environment. Okay. So that there is a complete introduction. So that works well. I want to work with just one main idea. This is because public transportation is cheaper. Okay, so let's work with that. So what normally happens in these lessons is I'll say develop this one idea and people start developing lots of different ideas. I want everyone just to focus on the same idea, because if you're all focusing on the same idea, we're all thinking about how to develop the same idea. The feedback that I'm giving everyone else will be more relevant to what you're doing. So rather than just giving me random stuff, I want you to tell me, how would you develop this idea? Okay. So specifically about public transportation is cheaper. How can we develop this idea? That's what I want you to do for me next. So again, in the comments, write down how you would explain, how you would exemplify, how you would develop that idea. So the topic sentence is going to say, first of all, some people prefer public transportation because it's cheaper. And then you're going to tell me, how can you develop that from there? Okay. Being easy to travel, that's just not clear. Saru, why is it easier? That's not giving me a clear picture of what you're thinking, so that doesn't work. Sahiba. Those who like to travel in public transportation prefer this because it is environmentally friendly, and the others who think private transportation is better think this way because it saves time. Good. So you're making some language errors, but your ideas are suitable. But remember, oh wait, I have your. I'm of the opinion that public transportation is better because it is cheap. Okay. So environmentally friendly, save time, and cheap. Yes, good. So you're making some language errors, so you do need to work on your vocab, but your main ideas are suitable and you do understand how to write an outline statement. So that's good. Chagraji, so the first letter of every sentence needs to be capitalized, so the with a capital D. The majority of people believe that public transportation is the greatest way. That has more meaning than best. So, like, if I say something is great, it, like it's more emotional investment in it than if I said it's the best. So if I might think something is the best, but I don't really care about it. But if I say something is great, I think it's the best, and it makes me happy that I get I get some emotional attachment towards that thing. So greatest isn't suitable. Whereas others consider that private vehicles like automobiles are better. So some grammar mistakes to work on there. Jason, those supporting private transportation do so because it is a faster way to reach their destination. Yeah, perfect. Rupinder, it is believed by many individuals that public transport is more suitable for commuting, while others opine that private transportation is no. It would be is more appropriate is the collocation, but the word appropriate isn't suitable here. In my opinion, public transportation is much better as it is inexpensive and eco-friendly. Okay, so you're not answering the question the way it needs to be answered. So look at the outline statement on the screen there, the way you have to talk about each view independently and then talk about your opinion. So that there, the way you've given two ideas for your own opinion is not the way to answer the question. So just be careful with that. Maha, there are a lot of people who think that public transportation is the ideal way to travel, whereas there are others who believe private vehicles like cars and two-wheelers are the best for commuting. So some grammar mistakes there that I corrected as I was reading it out. Two-wheelers should be plural, but also two-wheelers is too informal in an academic essay. And like I'm talking about this being an academic essay, it doesn't matter if you're doing general training IELTS or academic IELTS. Task 2 is considered an academic essay for everyone. So it needs to be formal and it needs to follow that academic style that we're looking at. So any informal language is not suitable for task 2, whether you're doing general training or academic IELTS. You need to only use formal language in your answer. Okay, Arzu. Hi, Arzu. Welcome to the lesson. Cost of traveling becomes lesser. So the cost of traveling becomes less due to the fact that people are sharing the same vehicle as many others. Okay, so the idea is fine, but just listen to the correction that I've made there to the grammar. Because in some place public transportation is cheaper and convenient to the passenger, so you just need one idea for each view and one idea for your own opinion. So you can say cheaper is fine. The convenient is too vague. So like things can be convenient for many reasons. So the word convenient. In fact, I would say in general for any IELTS question, the word convenient is not a suitable main idea. The word convenient will always be vague. So think about why it's convenient. Hiya, Big B. People who think public transportation is better feel this way because they understand that public vehicles can reduce the CO2 emissions. Good. Whereas the others do not agree because private transportation may help them to save their money. Okay. I think it'd be tricky to describe private transportation being cheaper than public transportation. If you can, that's fine. As long as you can do that, that's fine. I would personally say that public transportation is cheaper, but I do not need to agree with you. The examiner does not need to agree with you. You just need to be able to explain that. So, like, let's say, for example, if you're saying that for people who live in the countryside, public transport is not available, so they would need to get a I don't know. I don't know how you do it, but it would be, as long as you can do it, it's fine. I'm just not sure how you would. Arzu, public transport is affordable by any group of society whether, so you spelling mistake there, whether they are upper class or medium class or lower class. So we would never have or two times. So whether they are upper class, medium class, or lower class, but we don't really use those terms anymore, upper class and lower class. They're a bit outdated. Vicious. On the one hand, public transport is not as expensive as is not expensive. Sorry, I read that incorrectly. That's not your mistake. That's my mistake. On the one hand, public transport is not expensive as governments invest huge amounts of money in this mode of transportation. They lower the prices so that the masses can use this means of transportation to commute in their daily lives. Okay, that sentence is a bit short and it doesn't. You're kind of repeating the first sentence. So the first sentence looked good, and then they lower the prices so that the masses. Maybe even you need to change that into one sentence. For example, using Delhi metro from Delhi to Agra costs only 5 rupees. So how much would it cost to? How much would that cost? So in the example, I'd like to see how much that would cost if you were to drive a car. Like how much would you pay on petrol? Or, you know, just a bit of a comparison, because I don't know how much it costs to drive. I don't know how much it costs to drive in private transportation. So you're not giving me a comparison I can see. Like you're just saying it costs this much to do it this way. Is that cheaper? Is that more expensive? I don't know. Mostly public transportation is more reliable than private transportation. Okay, good. You need to work on your punctuation and grammar. Public transportation is more reliable, so you need the verb than private transportation, so no article. Okay, so let me grab Vicious. I know I'm saying your name wrong, Vicious, but I'm only guessing. Okay, so let's flesh this out a bit. So on the one hand, public transportation is not expensive in comparison to driving private vehicle, as governments invest huge amounts of money in this mode of transportation. They intentionally lower the prices so that masses can use this facility to commute for daily purposes. For example, using Delhi metro. I don't know, I might be wrong, but I'm guessing there would be a de here. Using the Delhi metro from Delhi to Agra costs only 5 rupees. Only 5 rupees, which is only a tenth of the price of traveling a private vehicle. Okay, so something like that would be our body paragraph. Okay, we're making really good progress here today. Okay, so from there, we're going to look at the next one. While private transportation can be used at any time. So that's our the next thing I want you to focus on. So tell me now, how can we develop this idea? Private transportation can be used at any time. So how could we develop that idea right there? Okay, so we saw that already. Rupinder, public transportation is affordable for most of the people because it is funded by the government, or it is funded by governments, either one. Yep, good. Obviously, your development needs to be longer than that, but you're on the right track. So you're explaining why. You know, that's what you need. Why is it cheaper? Funded by governments. Perfect. Maha, we are not able to write more than 200 letters in the YouTube, hence I had to cut some letters from my statement. That's no problem. I'll pick up the second one. It's Delhi Metro train. Okay, that's fine. I didn't know. I don't know the name of it. I'm just going to assume it's correct. And the examiner will do the same thing. You know, like if the examiner had lived in Delhi, but in general, you know, they're not going to pick up on something very unique to where you're from like that. Hey, Leo. Hey, Jervin. Therefore, commuters need to pay a fair amount of money for their ticket. Fair doesn't really suit this context. So I think like reasonable amount is probably what you're looking for. A reasonable amount of money. And Saru. Traveling by public transportation, such as a bus, so the article there, a bus is cheaper as they carry a number, another article mistake there, a number of people at once and only cost less amount of money to travel compared to car. You kind of dropped the ball with this one. So you're starting correctly, and then you said that last bit after and that doesn't make sense anymore. So what you want to say is it carries a number of people at once, and the cost of the transportation is divided amongst all of these people. While traveling by car is more expensive as people have to spend money on tax, maintenance, and petrol. Yep, good. Okay, so in case you've just joined us, we are now looking at this next idea that's highlighted on your screen. Private transportation can be used at any time. So how can we develop this idea? So just write up your idea, write up how you would develop that idea, share it in the comments, and I'll have feedback for you. Okay, Rupinder. On the other hand, private transportation works well for every situation because commuters, plural mistake there, commuters do not depend on the schedule. So it's not clear what schedule you're referring to. I know exactly what you're talking about, but you need to say it. Do not depend on the bus schedule or on the schedule of the public transportation. And they can use their private vehicles whenever there is a requirement. Yep, good. little bit short, however, Rupinder. Good, but short. So what you're looking for is roughly, about that length. Maybe a bit shorter than this. This might be a little bit long, actually, but longer than what you've written. Zarathina, public transportation is cheaper as you are no longer required to buy petrol for the whole trip and more reliable to reach your destination. Now, so that we've decided that the paragraph is about public transportation being cheaper. And if you start talking about it being more reliable, then you're not talking about what the paragraph is about. So you've gone off topic. Now, if you were to say public transportation is more reliable as your main idea, you could talk about that. You could make the paragraph about being reliable, but you can't say it's cheaper and then in the middle of the paragraph talk about it being more reliable. So you need to stick with that one main idea that we've decided on. So that's not suitable. On the other hand, using private transportation is costly, but you can manage your own time. Okay. Okay, so this is supposed to be the outline statement. Okay. So what you want to do is you want to take that idea reliable and use that as the idea to support your own opinion, because you need to discuss both views. So you should have one idea for the first view, one idea for the second view, and then another idea for your opinion. So it should look like this. Transportation is cheaper. So some people believe that transportation is better because it is cheaper, whereas others feel that private transportation is better because this means of transport allows you to manage your own time. My own belief is that public transportation is better as it is more reliable. So that's the way you would organize it. So you have all the ideas that you need, but the way you've organized your outline statement isn't suitable. So you've done the hard part. You just need to, have a better understanding of how to respond to this question type. So discuss both views and give your own opinion. You need to organize it the way that I've just described. Maha, public transportation might not be available to people in the midnight, during the night, or at midnight. Because at midnight is like exactly 12:00, whereas you're talking about a longer stretch of time. So during the night. In some countries, however, we can hire a cab during that time. Hence, we can safely reach our destination. Talking about safely reaching your destination isn't suitable. That's not what you're talking about. You're talking about how you can use it anytime, not about how safely you arrive. So no, that last sentence isn't suitable, man. Okay, Vicious is back. Oh, you took. Yeah. Okay. Good. Let's have a look at this. So, on the other hand, private transport is available all of the time. This is because of this availability that whenever people have any emergency situations, they can just drive their own vehicles instead of waiting for hours standing on a bus stop and railway station. No. So I don't need an example of when it is better to be able to use it anytime. So I don't want to know what's good about using it anytime. I want to know how can you use it anytime. So you're not explaining the benefits of being able to use it anytime. You're not talking about the outcome of being able to use it anytime. You're explaining to me, why can I not use public transportation anytime, but I can use private transportation anytime? So that's what you're explaining. You're explaining how that happens, not why it's good. So be careful with that. They can just drive their own vehicles instead of waiting for hours. I mean, that part you're kind of getting at it, but no. You need to say it more clearly. Then, for example, last year my grandfather required immediate transfer to the hospital as he suffered from a heart attack. Okay, sorry about that. Then my father used his own car to take him to the hospital. So again, that's an example of why it is useful to be able to use the transportation anytime. So that's the benefit of being able to use it anytime, not an example of why you're able to use it anytime. So no, that's not suitable. Ranjana arrives. If one has a private vehicle, he doesn't want to count on public transportation as he can commute to any place irrespective of the time of the day. Why? Why is that? And I know, like, you're probably thinking, like, everybody knows it already. It's very obvious, but like, the your explanation is the obvious thing. Why is it cheaper? Like, when we looked at why is it cheaper? Why is it cheaper? Well, because the government spend money on it. So it's not. There's a very specific reason. So it's not like what you're doing here is you're saying, if in this paragraph about being cheaper, if we had talked about how uh, public transportation is cheaper, that's better because if you use the cheaper one, you have more money and you can spend your money on the other things that you like instead of wasting your money on the public transportation. Perhaps you'll have more money to invest in, like, I don't know, buy clothes and invest in the stock market. Like, it doesn't matter what you do with the money you save. You had to explain to me why buses are cheaper or why public transportation is cheaper. And you said public transportation is cheaper because the government fund it. Okay, that's an explanation. But what you're doing here is talking about the benefits of that situation, not explaining why that situation is in fact true. So you're coming at the wrong angle. You're coming at it from the wrong angle. You don't A benefit and an explanation, or a benefit, an outcome and an explanation are not the same. Okay, big B. Private transportation can be used at any time. So you got some tense mistakes there. Because you already own a car when you buy it. So that's just the start of a sentence. You haven't finished that, big B. Furthermore, by having a car, people will be capable of driving regardless of time or destination. So that's just repeating it. So we said you can use it at any time, and then you said, furthermore, you can use it at any time. So there isn't an explanation here either. So it seems you guys are struggling with this, and it's incredibly obvious. It's not that you don't know this. For sure, you all know this already, but you're just you're stepping over the explanation and talking about the outcome. So just be careful with that. Okay, Jason. On the other hand, those who support private transportation is because it is available at any time since they have a car or a bicycle at their disposal. For example, in some countries, buses are available every half hour, whereas owning your own vehicle allows you to use it whenever you want. Yeah, good. Okay, so Jason, need to flesh it out a little bit, but you're definitely getting closer. So let me take that and I'll add that to our document. Okay, on the other hand, those who, let's just say prefer, those who prefer private transportation and that it is available at any time since they have own car or bicycle at their disposal. Now, this isn't really an example. This is more a explanation. So I'm going to delete that bit. Says, for example. Okay. Maybe I'm wrong, no. It is an example. For example, in most countries, or in many countries, buses are only available every half hour, whereas people who own their own vehicle can simply use it whenever they want, as nobody else has it. They are the only ones who use it. There we go. So from there, that brings us to the last idea, and then we would have one paragraph to develop our own opinion. However, I'm not going to do that. We've done 2 paragraphs already, so you get the idea. So let's from there jump to the final paragraph. So I want you to write the conclusion. Write the conclusion. Let me see what that should look like. Pawan, as those who think public transportation is environmentally friendly is because at first. So this wasn't one of the ideas we were looking at. You've moved on to the next paragraph. Okay. So just to keep us on track for the lesson, let's just look at the we're going to move on to the conclusion. We're going to look at the conclusion. So we already looked at the first view and the second view, so we'll look at the conclusion next instead of a third paragraph, a third body paragraph. Private transportation works well in every situation, as there is no need to wait for public buses or trains, especially in emergency situations where waiting is not an option. So no, it's again, you don't want to talk about the benefits, you want to talk about why. So I mean, basically it's this. With public transportation, it doesn't sit there waiting for you to use it. It goes around on a circuit. And you need to wait for that circuit to reach you. Whereas in private vehicle, it's there all the time. When you're not using it, it's waiting for you. When you are using it, you can use it immediately. So that's what you want to talk about. So not the benefits of being able to use it anytime, but why you can use it anytime. Those are not the same thing. Okay, so Pawan, like I said, we'll just focus on the paragraphs from the lesson. Okay, Arzu, private transportation can be used to travel on our desired location anytime we want. For example, if I want to go on a trip with my family or friends by my personal car, it becomes easier to plan things accordingly because I don't have to think of any transport facility available or not, like trains or buses. No. So again, this is another, you're still focusing on the benefit of being able to use your car anytime you want, not why you can use. I think it's more like we're not trying to say why it's beneficial to have access to your car at any time you want. So I think maybe an easier way to explain it would be, why can you not use public transportation anytime you want? So like, why can I not use a bus instantly or at any time of the day? So explaining that is what you need to do. So why do I not always have access to a bus or instant access to a bus? It's probably easier to explain that than explain why you always have access to a car. For instance, people who work late at night. So same thing again. Same thing again here. On the other hand, private transportation is available all of the time, as people can buy these on monthly EMIs. They can use these whenever they have an emergency. So again, we're not you're talking about the benefit of having them. It doesn't matter if they can or can't use them in an emergency. It's why can they use them anytime. Arzu, and even in the case of an emergency, so you're same thing again. Same thing. Everyone's focusing on the benefit, not explaining why. On the other hand, people who believe private transportation is better due to time saving. So I think you're confused there, Pawan. So we said can be used anytime would not be the same as save time. So like say, for example, to be used any times, I can use it now, I can use it in 10 minutes, I can use it in 20 minutes, I can use it in an hour, I can use it tomorrow, I can use like anytime. Whereas you're talking about saving time. So you're talking about like if I'm driving to work in my car, it takes me 20 minutes. If I go by bus, it takes me 30 minutes. So you're talking about saving time, which is a suitable idea, but is not the same idea as the one that we put on our document here on the screen. Hello, Thuy. Hello to you. Good to see you here. We're pretty much finishing up now at the moment, Nga. We're pretty much finished. So you've come in a bit late, but you can still watch the recording. And as well, I have my live feedback lessons tomorrow. So I assume you're in Vietnam. So your time would be 4 p.m. tomorrow. I have a lesson on Zoom at 4 p.m. Vietnamese time. Writing task 2 tomorrow. So if you've not already subscribed to that, get involved. This lesson, of course, you can watch the recording, but we are pretty much finished here. Then you can go easily anywhere, like in a job or to visit place which is far from place. So again, you're talking about the benefit, not actually explaining it. Okay, so Jason, so just to point out, what we're looking for in the conclusion is the context and the 3 ideas. So I should be able to read this conclusion. Like imagine I hadn't read the question, I hadn't read any of the rest of the essay. I should be able to read this conclusion and know everything about the essay. So let's see if Jason has everything here. In conclusion, some prefer to take public transportation since it is less costly. However, others are of the opinion that private transportation is better because it can be used at any time. I am of the opinion that public transportation is more suitable because it is environmentally friendly. Was that our last idea? Excellent. That's perfect. Everything we wanted is there. So it's a full summary of every aspect of the context. Some people believe one thing and why, other people have the other opinion and why, and then the opinion in at the end. Yeah, good job, Jason. Good. Arzu, you're very welcome. And Vicious, although some people think that private vehicles are the best as these are affordable, others think public modes of transportation are better as they are available all of the time. I firmly agree with the former view as public vehicles are eco-friendly. So yeah, so just start it with the words in conclusion. So just add in conclusion to the beginning, like this, Vicious. So see Jason as in conclusion, comma. So just add that to the start of what you've written. And that's also a good conclusion because you've included everything we need. And Rupinder, in conclusion, although both ways have their own advantages, however, public transport is best, not only for most of the people, but also causing less harm to the environment. No, so you haven't included everything. So I think just taking Jason's as a good example of what should be there, all the context and the three ideas. So you're missing quite a bit from what you've written there, Rupinder. Okie dokie. So that's it. I can't believe it's Thursday already. The weeks are flying by. So like I said, free lesson on Zoom, my live feedback lesson tomorrow. So sign up for that if you haven't already, and come and join me for more feedback there. And watch out this Sunday. So I'll have new posts on Sunday for the speaking test draw and the essay correction competition. So that's all that's left this week. Also one-on-one support, and like I said, I have some places available on my writing course, so reach out to me about that if you want more hands-on support with lots of feedback on your work, lots of instructions and lots of guidance, and like I said, lifetime membership. So if you need that more hands-on support, if you've done the test a few times, you can't improve by yourself, or you're not sure what you're doing wrong, that's definitely the option for you. So we have some more here. So I'll continue giving feedback to those who've shared. Saru, in conclusion, those who prefer traveling by public transportation like to save money. I just remove for traveling. Like to save money, and those who prefer to use private vehicles like this because they can use it at any time. As public transportation is better for the environment as it reduces the carbon emissions, space, I like this option of transportation better. Good. Sorry, I made a huge mistake in my conclusion. What is it, the in conclusion? No, it's not a huge mistake. No. It's a mistake you should definitely avoid, because for coherence and cohesion, that's going to damage your coherence and cohesion score slightly, but it's not going to bring you from a band 7 down to a band 6. It would have to be that combined with other mistakes as well. So obviously, the more mistakes you make, the lower your score is going to be. But that as an individual mistake, I wouldn't call a huge mistake. Definitely a mistake, but not a huge mistake. Arzu, to conclude, both the views, we can say that it completely depends upon person to person what is more suitable for them. No, don't say any of that. Just say what we said in the essay. To use at the moment, no. So you should repeat what the views are and what the main ideas were that you supported each view with. So you should include all of those things. In my opinion, private transportation is better because it is safer and easily available. So again, you should just have two ideas, and you should just have one idea to support your opinion, and it should be the same one that was in the essay. So we said, in my opinion, public transportation is better because it's better for the environment. So it should be that same idea to support your opinion in the conclusion. So, make sure it's the same idea, and make sure it's just one idea for your opinion. And then again, include the other views and the ideas you use to support those. So again, I'm just going to go back to Jason because Jason did such a good job. Basically that you can use other words to Jason, but that's the content. That's what you're looking for there. Okay. Jervin, you're very welcome. Get more involved, Jervin. Get more involved. Let me give you feedback on your mistakes as well. Transportation is by mistake in the last sentence. This option is better. Yeah, so you'd still need the verb in there, Saru. Big B, in conclusion, some individuals prefer to use public transport since it is cheaper, but others who commute by private transport, but others prefer private transport because of its flexibility. Now, don't confuse what people do with what people prefer, right? So let's say I prefer private transport, but I can't afford it, so I use public transport. So what people do and what people think aren't going to be the same thing. So don't confuse those. So you said that people commute by private transport because it's more flexible, but it's not what they're doing. It's what the questions about what they think. So don't confuse those. So somebody like it might be someone on a bus thinks private transportation is better. Just because they're using a bus doesn't mean that they have to believe that the bus is the better option. So don't confuse those. And my opinion is that public transportation is better in the light of its environmental friendliness. Good. Yeah, good. Okay, that's it. Anyone have any questions, or does anyone want to say anything before we finish up here? I usually get a few questions at the end, but if no one has any questions, we'll just wrap it up. Like I said, get involved in the live feedback lesson tomorrow. Be great to see you there as well. Reading books and grammar help. Does reading books and newspaper help with grammar? Yes. Absolutely. 100% yes. And there are two ways to approach that. So there's just like reading every day, like just instinctively your brain will become familiar with the structures and internalize it without you specifically making an effort. So it could be like you're just reading a novel for entertainment. If you're reading novels in English, that will, you'll just get more and more exposure to the way the words are ordered, and you'll instinctively internalize that. But there's also, if you're specifically, like, for example, you're making mistakes with plurals, if you're specifically working on plurals, the step would be like start with what are the rules. You're looking at the rules, make sure you understand the rules. Then you take that into reading. So as you're reading, you'll always look at like the nouns. Is it plural or singular? Why is this plural? Why is it not singular? Why is this singular? Why is it not plural? And taking the rules that you've already learned and seeing how they work in reality, like how they actually work in the written text. To jump from using rules to writing, to jump from learning rules to using them is a big jump. To go so you learn the grammar and then suddenly you're trying to apply it. So like learn the rules, see how they're used by reading. So you're active reading, looking for the grammar point you're working on. And then once you're very familiar with, you always know why they're used that way. Then you introduce it to your own writing. So you can use it that way, where you're specifically working on a grammar point, and reading is an incredibly important part of that. Or it could be just like you read every day, and you'll automatically just improve by doing that as well. It's impossible for me to say that. Like, it depends what your main focus is, but I would say as much as possible. But when you're preparing for the IELTS test, you have to balance out what your weaknesses are. So, and it depends where you are in the process. But as much as you can, but not so that something else is suffering. So like if your issue is pronunciation, so everything is fine. You can get the scores you need with the grammar you have and the fluency you have and the grammar you have, and did I say grammar twice? The vocab you have. And your only problem is pronunciation, then you should not read. Then you should spend no time reading every day, because you're taking time away from that thing that needs your attention. So you have to be strategic with your time. focus on your main weaknesses. But I would say like reading for pleasure, just reading and letting it take as long as it takes is not the approach that you need for IELTS. So it would be if you're reading for the purposes of improving your vocab or improving a specific grammar point, do as long as is necessary. So if it's vocab, like until you find another 10 words. If it's for grammar, it's until you start to understand it, and then you start, introducing it into your own writing. So yeah, it's not just a one size fits all. It's not like everybody should spend an hour or 2 hours reading every day. As much as you can, but not at the cost of like sacrificing what needs your time more. So I know not a simple answer for you, but that's kind of how you need to approach it. Hey, Princess. To conclude, undoubtedly both modes of transport has their own benefits. No, don't say that. Just say what we discussed. However, I tend to believe, not intend. I tend to believe that public transportation certainly helps to reduce the level of pollution because it is eco-friendly. Okay. So you only have that final component of your opinion, but we also need what was the first view and what idea we used to support that, and what was the second view and what idea did we use to support that. So you haven't included everything you need in this conclusion. Okay, so it doesn't seem like anyone else has any questions. I'm more than happy to answer whatever questions you have. Feel free to ask, but if you don't, we'll finish up there. Seems like that's it. You're very welcome, Saru. Very welcome, as always. And thank you for saying thank you. Okay, seems that's it. Okay, so see you in the live feedback lesson tomorrow if you've already subscribed. If not, I'll be back with more live streams next week. So I'll see you there. Okay, take care, everybody, and bye-bye.